Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Oh, wait. Why aren't we on the screen? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We're off to a great start today. What is happening? Hang on. I have no idea what's going on. And you don't have any powers in here, right?
Correct.
Wait. Unbelievable. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Badlands Daily. We're already off to a bad start because I played the wrong intro. So Brian has the two intros smushed together into one video, and I played the Badlands intro accidentally by itself, which means that you'd have to watch the Badlands Daily intro again, or the Badlands intro again, to see the Badlands Daily intro. So we're just gonna skip it.
It works for me. I'm okay with it.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Please give us a pity thumbs up because we're absolutely retarded. Abs and I were both up super late last night working on content for this week, and we're both leaving today, so it's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter show. I also have an announcement that there is no Daily Herald today. No Daily Herald today. John's flight was canceled, and he had to take an earlier flight, so he's not going to be able to make the show. So sorry about that. But we have a lot of good stories, and we're gonna have a great guard. So if you haven't yet gotten your virtual tickets, make sure that you get your virtual tickets. You can come hang out with us in the Telegram chat. You get, all sorts of behind the scenes information. You get access to all the panels. You can ask questions. You can interact with us. It's gonna be fun. I just finally got into the Telegram chat last night.
Oh, well, welcome aboard.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. Couldn't find the link.
Oh, story of my life.
All right. Let's talk about our first sponsor. We are all about making America healthy again, and I am sitting here drinking my Field of Greens. It's the lemon lime flavor, and I'm enjoying it. I hadn't had the lemon lime before. I'm a wild berry girl. I pretty much stick to wild berry. Branching out, trying it's actually not lemon lime. I have the lemon lime. I haven't tried it yet. It's strawberry lemonade, and it's really good. It's just as good as the wild berry, which I'm surprised by. Americans' confidence in healthcare has hit a 24-year low. Yeah, there's a new administration and change is on the horizon, but change takes time and your health can't wait. That's why I'm taking control of my own health with Field of Greens. We all know eating healthy is key to staying healthy, but life gets busy and sticking to a perfect diet isn't always realistic. Field of Greens makes it easy. It's whole fruits and vegetables. That's it. Whole fruits and vegetables. And we could all use more whole fruits and vegetables. Just one drink, and I've got my healthy head start on the day. I love the ease of it. One scoop, bottle of water, shake it up, drink it down. It tastes good. It's a little earthy, but strawberry lemonade with a little bit of earthiness. I'm down with it, and really helps you, elevate energy, get rid of that brain fog. Really good stuff. Every fruit and vegetable in Field of Greens is doctor selected for specific health benefits. There's a heart health group, lungs, kidney, and metabolism groups, and even a healthy weight group. Field of Greens promises at your next checkup, your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back. We've got a 20% discount to get you started. Go to fieldofgreens.com and use our code BADLANDS. That's fieldofgreens.com, promo code BADLANDS. And I haven't tried it yet, but I'm getting ready to start the lean. It says I was gonna take it this morning, but it says to take it after breakfast, and I generally don't eat breakfast, so it's something I have to work on. But I'll let you guys know how it goes. I'm excited.
I enjoy Field of Greens. It's about as easy as it gets.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And do you have the ads or no?
No.
Okay. All right. We're going to hit our second ad if I can find it. Hold for processing.
Dun, 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 dun.
You could be respectful and sing or something.
I can't sing. I'm being far more respectful by humming.
But that would make it more fun.
I promise.
You say.
No. I'm not alpha. I do not embarrass myself purposely.
All right. Well, our second sponsor of today's show is TackRight. Our sponsor, TackRight, just released an incredible product that 44% of American households are missing. It's recommended to have a life-saving trauma kit at home at all times, and a big part of America doesn't have one. Imagine this. You're at home and suddenly disaster strikes. Would you be prepared? Well, with TackRight's new trauma kit, you can be. These kits are packed with 82 essential tools designed to save lives when every second counts. TackRight is offering these kits at an unbelievable 50% off. That's right, half price for peace of mind. And trust me, you'll want more than one. Get one for your house, one for your car, and don't forget about your loved ones. Get your trauma kit today from our sponsor at 50% off. Just visit tackrightbadlands.com. That's TACRIGHT badlands.com. Remember, in an emergency, having the right tools can mean the difference between life and death. So don't wait. Get your TackRight trauma kit today at tackrightbadlands.com and be prepared for whatever life throws your way. All right. So today is Ash Wednesday. So to all the Catholics out there, what do you? You're Catholic. What do you say for Ash Wednesday?
I'm not Catholic.
Did you weren't you raised Catholic? Don't you know the stuff though? The
I
Catholic.
do know the stuff. I know the stuff well. Barbara was raised Catholic.
So what do you say on Ash Wednesday? Like have a good Lent?
I think so. I think that would be appropriate.
And it as a non-Catholic. Ash Wednesday is the start of Lent, the 40-day period where you're giving up something important to you to get. And people are saying no meat. I think isn't it like traditionally no meat, but it's gotten kind of give up something important to you.
Yeah.
I can choose what it is. In an effort to draw closer to God, I imagine, in preparation for Resurrection Day, which is Easter, which I definitely celebrate Easter. It's my favorite holiday.
Same.
He is risen indeed. So there's no Ash Wednesday greeting, Bravis says. Thank you. Ashes to ashes. I think, yeah, you were made from dust, and to dust you will return. I heard in connection with Ash Wednesday, but I have a video that I thought we would play. Yeah, Genesis 3:19. Remember, you are dust, and to dust you shall return. So we'll play. It's very quick. We'll play this. This is from Muse on X. I'll share this screen instead. And I saw kind of a funny as well, which I thought was and I don't mean for this to be blasphemous, so forgive me if it is. It's always a good way to start, right? Oh, where'd it go? Why isn't it? Hold for processing. There we go. So this is the Catholic Guide to Ashes. At the top left, you have first in line, like a perfect cross. This one's the blob. This is the hasty. This is the Rorschach. Father's revenge. He's mad at you, so he's giving you a big ol' one. The mini is over here. The hipster has kind of a curve to it. Load toner is it's there, but you can barely see it. The Hindu is a straight dot. And the Franciscan, I don't understand this one. I know the dying pope is Francisco, but what do you know what this is about?
I do not. That one is lost on me.
Yeah. All right. So happy Ash Wednesday to everyone that celebrates. We are going to spend most of the show talking about the non-State of the Union, State of the Union that happened last night. I have a bunch of stuff on that. But before we get into that, I want to hit some of these other stories because we're going to end with that. And like we said, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter show today because we're both traveling today. This happened yesterday morning. I don't know if Ghost and Brian covered it, but I think yesterday morning when Badlands Daily was on, this was only we knew of 2 people. It's now, I believe, up to 22 or more people that have made this video.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
All right, that's enough.
Bro, they're not even hiding it anymore.
It's very interesting that they thought that was a good idea. And I heard that some of them came out and said, we're showing how united we are. No, you're showing that you have not an original thought in your head. And some PR firm created that. There's apparently a portal in the Senate Democrats like communications area function that, oh, somebody says it's up to 29 now. I saw 22 this morning. Wow, 29. Amazing. Yeah, so there's like a portal where they can go to get digital assets and things, to help out senators. This is something that I would have done in corporate America. If you're driving a change effort, you build kind of a library of materials, things that you'll use. The number one rule of delivering communications across multiple circuits is deliver these talking points in your own words. I guess we've abandoned that. I haven't been in professional comms in a while, so I guess we've abandoned that role. But yeah, Mockingbird, Lockstep, interesting stuff.
Yeah, very interesting, man. Like I
They
said, they're
should
not
be
even.
embarrassed. They
Yeah,
should be
they should
embarrassed,
be.
but they're not.
Yeah, they should be, but they're not. It's like I said, they're not even trying to hide it anymore, dude. Which is kind
Okay,
of glorious in and of itself. Like, yeah,
it
please
is.
keep it up.
It is. It is because they're so fake. They're so fake. Kitsko says, or Kitso says, Elon is offering Cybertruck to the one who identifies the source of this script. I saw that. I think Data Republican already did. She put out all the information about the comms and comms portal for digital assets and things. So we'll see. Be cool for her to get a Cybertruck.
Right?
All right. So if you're on Twitter, if you're on X, formerly known as Twitter, today, you will probably hear about poop water and how the Supreme Court has decided to make us drink poop water, and it's trending, and they're freaking out about it. And I think it's hilarious. I am going to drop the link to the SCOTUS decision into the chat, but this is a case about, I don't know if I can share this link. Hang on, grab it this way. I think that'll work. Somebody click this and tell me if it works or not. So this case is City and County of San Francisco, California versus the Environmental Protection Agency. And what it involves, I'll just read what it involves paragraph. This case involves a challenge to end result requirements, permit provisions that do not spell out what a permittee must do or refrain from doing, but instead make a permittee responsible for the quality of the water in the body of water to which the permittee discharges pollutants. So if you have, you're running a business, there's some sort of runoff or some sort of byproduct that ends up in the water, and say you're a small business and there's a massive business. Thank you, call sign. There's a massive business that's, also has runoff or discharge into the water. You, the small business, are held accountable for the quality of the water, like the Pacific Ocean or a lake or a river. And these provisions, this was it's the Clean Water Act, 33 USC 1151, and the EPA in 2019 added these two end result requirements to the EPA regulations, and it's been 4 years, and it's been a disaster, and it's been fought in court, and today they overturned that provision. So what that means is that it's a rollback of regulatory requirements or overly burdensome regulations, which is a campaign promise, which was promised to do. But this is in the courts. This isn't Trump. 5 justices agree. It was a close one. It was 5-3. This is the 3 cackling women that said no. But it's basically saying the EPA can't tell you that you can't run your business unless you're willing to be accountable for the quality of the water in the Pacific Ocean, essentially.
Huh.
Poop water. SCOTUS
Poop
wants
water.
us to drink poop water. Why are we making America great again with poop water? No. People are
Poop
stupid.
water.
So you all have the decision now. I dropped the link in the chat. I will also, in fact, put it in the comments for folks that are watching on replay. It is now in the comments. All right. I found this article interesting. I put this in the brief this morning, but I think we should. I just realized that I haven't been sharing any of this stuff. Navigating behind the scenes through screens. Yeah. Brian will be back soon, guys. 2028 Summer Games in LA will be Donald Trump's Olympics. Endeavor and TKO executive Mark Shapiro predicts he's going to walk out of office with the trophy. This is from Deadline. Despite the setback of this year's wildfires, the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics will be out of control, and credit for their success will be taken by Donald Trump, according to Endeavor and TKO Mark Shapiro. The LA and back narrative will drive strong interest in corporate hospitality packages offered by TKO's on-location subsidy, Shapiro predicted during an appearance at Morgan Stanley Media Conference. Ben Swinberg, the Morgan Stanley analyst moderating Monday's session with Shapiro, asked if the exec felt bullish about LA in 2028 and anticipated they will go on as planned. Quote, they've had time to rebuild, and it's going to be a coming out party, Shapiro said, sort of that other end of the spectrum from where the Oscars were last night, where they celebrated LA and the pageantry and the history, and of course, encouraged folks to give back and support the build. Now, the reason I wanted to include this story, this in Daily today, is Chris Paul's take on it, which I thought was something I didn't know. So I'm going to share with the class. Hold for processing. Chris Paul's take on this in the Badlands news brief this morning was Endeavor. That's Ari Emanuel's agency. Ari's brother is Rahm Emanuel, Obama's former chief of staff and the ambassador to Japan under fake and illegitimate Biden administration. Ari's other brother is Ezekiel, a doctor who believes people should die at 75 for the good of everyone. Their dad was Irgun, which is Israeli paramilitary. So the Olympics, the people out, the entities out, pumping the LA Olympics and, kind of appearing, like, at least in the headline form, to try and stroke Trump are actually some of the worst people imaginable.
Big surprise.
Yeah.
You mean people
Rahm
associated with the
Emanuel's-
Olympics are terrible humans? No.
Well, I'm sure not all of them. I'm sure there's some good people doing.
You mean
I
those
live just north of Olympic City here in Colorado. There's
You
some
mean
good-
those folks at the
good
very
people.
top of the structure of the IOC are corrupt? No.
I think the people trying to build hospitality suites and all sorts of experiences for wealthy elites that go to the Olympics are probably not the best people. Like we were talking about last night on the not Sodu coverage. It just flew out of my head. It was Epstein related. And my point flew out of my... Oh, Epstein was the coke dealer. It's a really overly simplified and kind of gross way to describe him because he wasn't dealing coke, but he was the guy that made the experience, made the party, got you connected, got you in the crowd, right? He was the coke dealer. He wasn't the top of the pyramid.
Mm-mm.
And events like the Super Bowl or the Olympics are some of the highest trafficking events in the world. So I would wire those hospitality suites before the Olympics. Trump, just in case you're listening.
Seconded.
All right, so that's what we got on the Olympics. Let's do a little bit of foreign news. Actually, let's do investments, and then we'll do foreign news, and then we'll do SODU. Okay, so investment news. In investment news, we got the TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor story a couple days ago. This was some good analysis. Taiwanese chip-making giant TSMC plans to invest a whopping $100 billion in the United States after U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to slap tariffs on overseas-made chips. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company is the world's biggest maker of critical technology that has become the lifeblood of the global economy. This week's announcement takes the total amount TSMC has pledged to invest in the United States to $165 billion, which the company says is the largest single foreign direct investment in U.S. history. It follows Trump's accusations that Taiwan stole the U.S. chip industry and his threats to impose tariffs of up to 100%, and Taipei's promises to invest more in the United States. AFP looks, and then they go into a whole bunch of analysis, but so the chip manufacturing thing is really interesting, and I brought this up. This is jumping a little bit ahead to the congressional address, but last night President Trump was talking about these investments, and he was, and this is a campaign promise. He said people are going to come back. We're going to bring manufacturing back to America. I am going to get people to come back. He's proved it already. We're in week 7. There's almost, if not over now, $2 trillion of private investment that's coming into our country. And what we heard during the speech last night was a comparison of what Biden did with the Chips and Science Act and what Trump is doing with courting investments through tariffs and, tax breaks and other things. The Chips Act was a giveaway. It was a giveaway to friendly businesses to the Biden administration. And where are the chips? Where is the booming chips industry? We have a lot of that talent in Arizona. And at the start of the Biden administration, a lot of those people were laid off. And we didn't see a booming U.S. chip industry after the Chips and Science Act. We got some data centers and a whole bunch of jobs in Singapore. We got a data center being built, I think, in upstate New York, and that's going to come with some jobs. But for the most part, it was a giveaway. And what I loved that President Trump said last night is that you don't need it. He said, get rid of the, I encourage you. And he kind of looked back at Mike Johnson. He said, I encourage you to get rid of the CHIPS Act. You don't need it. And you should use the savings to reduce the deficit. And that was a slap, such the best slap in the face to the Democrats in the audience, because the Chips and Science Act is one of their biggest accomplishments over the past 4 years. That and the infrastructure one are pretty much, the big ones that they have. Neither one of them did what they said they were going to do. It just ended up being money laundering, in my opinion. But President Trump's approach to this is courting business to come back. So we're not giving these people $2 trillion. They're investing $2 trillion into our country, as opposed to us giving them billions of dollars to come back here and pretend to work.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting segment of the speech last night too. And pretty much, it's not an area I've studied a whole lot, so I don't know a ton about it. Obviously, I know the importance of the chips and the semiconductors and all of that, and it does make me think of the China Taiwan stuff. Like, does if we bring that manufacturing back here, is that when China goes into Taiwan? Like, I just feel like Taiwan and all that is going to play a role soon. Maybe this has something to do with it. I don't know, man. But yeah, let's see what happens. I also wonder if the seeming grab for the rare earth minerals lately, is that going to have something to do with this moving forward as well? So we'll have to see.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point. I don't have it on the list for us to talk about, but during the speech last night, he did talk about expanding the industry of U.S. rare earth. So it's a very untapped, because of our ridiculous environmental policies.
Right.
Because we have to block out the sun and use metal oxides to cool the earth by spraying them and poisoning our food and soil and water and all of these things. But it's for the environment.
Right. Because we can totally change what the planet's going to do naturally anyway, because we're humans and we're so much smarter than the planet itself and its mechanisms of survival for itself. But yeah, we could totally stave off anything by just having some paper straws. That'll help.
Wrapped in plastic.
Right. Wrapped in plastic.
And single-use plastic bags to to replace paper bags because Save the
Right.
Trees. Oh, wait a second. Single-use plastic bags have become the greatest pollutant ever known to our planet. So now we're going to go back to paper bags, but you have to pay for them.
Right. It all makes sense. Trust
It,
the
it does.
science,
It
Ash.
does when you frame it in global communism. It makes a ton of sense. From the Wall Street Journal, staying on kind of the trade and foreign investment, Canada and Mexico gambled on free trade future. The bet is turning sour. Do you remember? And this might not have been your jam. I know you're more of a metal guy, but Coldplay, Chris, what's his name, Martin? A big thing at his concerts was free trade back in the day.
Yeah.
He'd
I
write
remember
it on
that.
his hands. He'd write free trade means free for everyone but us. Free trade means the United States pays for trade, all of it, all the trade-offs.
I'm
And
not
when
okay with that.
I'm not okay with it either. And when you look at like what Canada and Mexico gambled on free trade future, meaning we're subsidizing their countries and they're dicks to us. So why are we doing it?
Right. We should not be doing that.
We should not be doing that. Let's read a little bit of this. Canada and Mexico gambled on a free trade future. The bet is turning sour. Oh, hang on. I got to pull the archive. My bad. Hold for processing. Definitely not paying for the Wall Street Journal.
No. Well, right now, everybody out there is getting a free lesson on how to get around paywalls.
Yeah. And CAPTCHA.
Right.
Oh, that's not one. That's not one. I hate these things so much.
It's not even a motorcycle. That was a moped.
I know. Yeah, but it would be really mad at me if I just skipped through it. Few countries have bet as heavily on free trade as Mexico and Canada. Now that President Trump's 25% tariffs have hit both countries, their economies are facing a stress test that rivals the global financial crisis and the pandemic. Canada and Mexico have separately signed more than a dozen treaties, each among the most in the world, that give them open access to the markets of more than 50 countries. The most important remains the U.S. Mexico-Canada agreement, an updated version of the 1994 NAFTA that eliminated most barriers to trade between the three countries. More than 80% of both countries' exports go to the U.S. The deal turned Mexico into an export powerhouse, becoming one of the world's top exporters of vehicles, beer, and flat screen TVs. Canada, for its part, used free trade deals with the U.S., which date to the 1960s, to help vault its now $2 trillion economy into the elite group of seven. So Canada doesn't even belong in the group of seven. They're only there because we're subsidizing their country. And also, I know I say this a lot, but it's really important. Canada can't even go to space without us. They have a Canadian Space Force, and their video for it is like a maple leaf shooting off into space, but they can't go to space unless they hitch a ride with us.
Wow.
So do you want to see it? I'll find it.
They're
The
like,
Canadian space logo. I used to have it on my computer, but I don't anymore.
I really
It's
don't want
really
to
fun.
upset our Canadian friends, but they really are kind of like,
Oh, they know.
they're like the retarded little stepbrother that you're like, all right, I guess you can come. Like, shit.
Are you ready? This is good. It's one of my favorite things. I used to play this every day. I would source stories. One person, one vote remembers. I would source stories that mentioned Canada just so I could play this.
Oh, wow.
And they don't have any rockets.
How can you have a space agency if you don't have any rockets?
Because they use ours. Because they use our everything because we're subsidizing their country. And they're dicks to us. So, I mean, Canadians aren't even dicks, but they're dicks to us. Canadians
Right,
are some of the nicest people on the planet. Dicks to us.
Dicks to us.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my favorite thing. I'll play it again as an outro on the way out because they love it so much. Random. All right. What else do we have on trade? I think that's all I've got on that topic. But I do think that free trade is a racket, and it has come at our expense. It's free for the world, very expensive for us, and we see the impacts of our economy of our infrastructure, of our way of life, of our everything. The fact that we've been subsidizing the world. And President Trump has said for a long time, you go back to, like, I'm thinking of that Art of the Deal intro video that we had for Base Book Club. And President Trump was talking about how we're getting ripped off in trade deals back in the freaking 80s. He's been waiting to solve this problem for a long time. So I'm glad he's finally doing it.
Yeah, you and me both.
All right, one more. Do I have one more or two more? I have two more. One more sort of domestic story. And G Money is going to be very happy about this. So this was trending this morning. By the way, the top trend when I started, went in, looked, see what are people talking about? What is new? I go to X, I pull up trending, I hit news, and it's not anymore. But when I woke up this morning, the top trend was Democrats. And it was people just going through about the reactions from last night and how they were just despicable people.
Oh, just this. We're going to dump all over when we get to that section.
Yeah.
At least I am
All
anyway.
right.
I know you
So
probably
this
are.
is trending this morning. Bitcoin to be treated differently from altcoins in U.S. crypto reserve, says Howard Lutnick. This is a report from The Block. A model for U.S. crypto reserve is set to be revealed at the inaugural White House Crypto Summit on Friday, according to the Pavlovich today. The president is interested in Bitcoin strategic reserve, while other tokens will be treated positively but differently, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick told the outlet. More details about the potential U.S. crypto reserve are set to come out of the White House inaugural crypto summit on Friday. So that's also news, as we have an inaugural crypto summit on Friday where we're going to talk about what this looks like. And this is interesting because you remember when he announced this, when President Trump announced this, he announced the strategic crypto reserve. And he mentioned ADA and HBAR. I don't know if he mentioned HBAR. XRP. He mentioned a number of stable coins, but not Bitcoin. And then he came back and he was like, and of course, Bitcoin, right, will be a big part of this. The way that was announced makes me think that the Bitcoin strategic reserve, when Trump was posting that it was the Bitcoin strategic reserve was already a done deal and the crypto reserve was new on top of that. And that's why when people were like, wait a second, what about Bitcoin? He was like, oh, of course, obviously Bitcoin. We already did that. But we'll learn tomorrow or Friday. Today's Wednesday. We'll learn on Friday what the deal is, what the plan is for this crypto reserve.
I'm kind of eager to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
By I mean really.
Yeah, I am as well, because there's, a lot of questions about what value that it will have long term as a store of value.
Right.
But, and we don't have to debate that right now, but there's a lot of questions about that. I think it's safe to say that President Trump is not a maximalist, because he is he has a diversified crypto portfolio for the United States of America, but should be interesting.
Yeah.
Tune in to GART this weekend, because I am on panels with G Money all weekend long. Could go very well or very, very poorly. People might be pissed. G Money and I are definitely going to fight. We both enjoy fighting. So if it makes you uncomfortable, just know that we're both having a blast. It's like one of the favorites. All right. And then finally, in kind of domestic sort of financial stuff, Trump admin seeks to put 443 federal properties, including FBI and DOJ headquarters, up for sale. Potential sale of the properties comes as the Trump administration seeks to downsize the scope of the federal government. They also have talked about moving entire functions of the federal government out of Washington, D.C. So that's interesting. A lot of these buildings are, all over the place. I think they talk about them down here. 443 federal properties that will possibly be put up for sale, including the FBI headquarters and labor and justice departments, as the president continues to downsize. This General Service Administration posted the non-core properties, which are located in 47 states, as well as Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico, totaling some 80 million square feet, Bloomberg reported. We are identifying buildings and facilities that are not core to government operations or non-core properties for disposal, the GSA states on its website. Quote, selling ensures that our taxpayer dollars are no longer spent on vacant or underutilized federal spaces. Disposing of these assets helps eliminate costly maintenance and allows us to reinvest in high quality work environments that support agency missions. Sale could save more than $430 million. I'm looking for the list because the Nancy Pelosi, like Justice Building or whatever it is that we were talking about this last week, I think, on one of the shows. That's on the list to be sold. Fantastic. Let's see what Mark Wade Mullins has to say about it. Oh, that's a preview of the address to Congress, so that's not relevant. All right, so let's do foreign news, and then we will jump into the SOTU. We're going to start with Ukraine and Russia. And I am going to rely heavily on Ghost of Base Patrick Henry's takes in the news brief, just so you know, because I'm anti-foreigner. Not really. Only if they're Canadian. Just kidding.
You're like what's her name from Waiting? Foreigners, I effing hate foreigners. You've seen Waiting,
Yeah.
right? Your husband's a chef. You had to have seen Waiting.
I haven't.
Oh, you should see Waiting.
Okay, I'll download it and read it. We can watch it in the car.
And then ask your husband about it, and he'll confirm that more of that movie is accurate than many people would be comfortable with.
Yeah. So this guy says, Alexander Stubb says that Trump and Zelensky should have a sauna. He says it always takes two to tango, and sometimes in marriage or other types of relationships, you go in your corner and sulk. Take a deep breath, take a cold bath, a sauna, breathe, come back to the negotiating table. He's Finnish. I don't know what that accent sounds like, so I made him British. He also sounds like a dick. So Ghost says, I had the Romania one up. Hang on, I gotta find the story about the sauna because I liked what Ghost said about it. Ghost of Base Patrick Henry says, this is why nobody takes Europe seriously. With World War III at stake, the Finnish president is suggesting that two grown men get naked and sit together in a confined, overheated space and work on their marriage. Get into your corner and sulk? No wonder Europe is dying. They don't have any real men left, and these clowns think they can go toe-to-toe with the Russians without America. I think he's spot on that. They can't do shit without America. They've proved that. It's why they've crawled back. It's been, that was Friday? It's Wednesday now, and by last night, they had crawled back to the table like, please let us negotiate some more.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know generally when I'm in the middle of an argument with one of my fellow men, the first thought that comes to my mind is, hey, dude, let's get naked, wrap a towel around our waist, and go sit in this steamy room for a couple hours. Let's do that. That'd be great.
This is like, oh, thanks, Tone Ranger. And then it's like, oh, you're basically calling me Dick Van Dyke. It's okay. It's okay. I'm all right with it. All right. Let's see what we got next. Trump, I saw this morning, but it's a little bit older, but President Trump said on Tuesday he appreciated Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's willingness to sign a minerals deal with the United States and come to the negotiating table under his leadership to bring a lasting peace closer in Kyiv's war with Russia. Trump said in an address to the U.S. Congress that Zelensky made the declaration in a letter to him earlier in the day. Zelensky posted on X earlier that Ukraine was ready to sign, give us credit, and talk peace, and called a contentious Oval Office last week, after which it was put on hold, regrettable. The Trump administration and Ukraine plan to sign the minerals deal. 4 people familiar with the situation told Reuters earlier on Tuesday, and they were anonymous, so whatever. Trump had told his advisors that he wanted to announce an agreement in his address to Congress. 3 sources said, cautioning that the deal had yet to be signed and the situation could change. Trump remarked, that progress had been made. Quote, earlier today, I received an important letter from President Zelensky of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring peace closer.
Huh.
I don't want them to have another chance.
Right?
I think Russia should just have their country.
Yeah, I think we should just like make Ukraine Russia again.
Mm.
I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
Well, so the intelligence community will say, you know, there's no real elections in Russia, and those Crimea and Donbass elections weren't real. They were rigged. They were stolen. Blah blah blah. Which is what they're doing in Romania, which we're going to talk about next. But if we're supposed to, I mean, we're not supposed to deny election results, right? That's like a threat to democracy or some shit. So if we take the election results at what they are, the people don't want the global world order anymore. The people keep rejecting the global world order. And based on what I've seen and the ideology of Ukraine versus the ideology of Russia, I think the people in the region probably do want to go to Russia. Because the stuff that's being pushed through the sustainable development goals, the gender bending, the climate nonsense, it's not making anybody's life better. It's making global world orderists richer and more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, I got $20 says Russia's elections are a hell of a lot cleaner than ours.
Oh, yeah, I'm not taking that bet because you're correct. I would imagine that you're correct. Speaking of elections, tens of thousands rally in support of NATO skeptic Romanian politician. See the video on the screen there. Kalin Georgescu, whose victory in the first round of the presidential election last November was annulled because they didn't want him to win, is now facing charges that he calls politically motivated. This is the exact same playbook that they did to President Trump, by the way. Tens of thousands of demonstrators gathered in Bucharest on Saturday to demand the second round of the annulled Romanian presidential election take place rather than a new vote be held. The protests come after In December, Romania's constitutional court annulled the results of the first round, which saw right-wing candidate Kalin Georgescu win 23% of the vote. In January, Romania's ruling coalition approved a rerun of the presidential election. We're like, oh, crap, the people don't want what we want. We have to do it over. The first round of which is scheduled for May 4th. If no candidate secures more than 50% of the vote, a runoff will follow on May 18th. The Romanian authorities cited the supposed irregularities in Georgescu's campaign, claiming without proof that Russia had covertly supported him. Oh, it's Russiagate. The politician is known as a critic of NATO and the EU and a staunch opponent of aiding Ukraine. Saturday's rally, organized by Alliance for the Union of Romanians, party grew participants from across the country to Bucharest Victory Square. The party leader, George Simon, and Georgescu were in attendance. Organizers claim that nearly 1 million people turned out, though several media outlets reported lower figures. So he won. It's like a rank choice thing, right? You do rounds because you have so many different parties. And he got like 23% of the vote, and it was stunning. They didn't know what to do. So then they claimed that he was aided by the Russians, annulled the election, and now they're holding a new one. And this is the side that the American institutions would support. Just like they support Zelensky canceling elections for democracy.
Right. Because democracy. We have to save democracy. We have to save it.
Yeah, we don't actually. Democracy is not in our founding documents at all.
It isn't.
Doesn't show up. But
No.
since our Declaration of Independence certainly and absolutely Constitution was signed, the forces of global control have actively pushed to make us into a major democracy.
Right.
Very easy to subjugate people that way.
Very, very easy.
Tyranny of the majority.
Right. Which can lead to communism, which is why they push for it.
Yeah. Facts, no cap. All right. From Zero Head, Putin agrees to mediate Iran nuke talks after Trump requests. This is going to make some heads explode. A very unexpected and unlikely development and plan is being widely reported Tuesday. Russian President Vladimir Putin has agreed to help the Trump White House broker talks with Iran on curtailing the country's nuclear program. Trump reportedly relayed the quest for Putin to play a direct role in the new negotiations with Iran during their February phone call. The topic was further broached and more details were discussed during the U.S.-Russia Riyadh talks, which followed on Tuesday. Neither the Iranian nor U.S. governments have publicly commented on the Bloomberg report, specifically which was based on anonymous sourcing, but Russian state media did quickly acknowledge that Moscow stands ready to help the U.S. and Iran solve their issues through talks. This feels very sovereign alliance-y to me. It's like, hey, Putin, there's a problem over in your region of the world. Can you take care of it?
What if China, Russia, and others were working with POTUS to help bring down the NWO? That you nailed it. Try sovereign alliance. It reeks of that all day.
Yeah, well,
every
it
day.
becomes so mainstream media figures are now talking about the sovereign alliance. I don't think in the same way that we're talking about it. They're terrified by it. But, Burning Bright, John, Chris Paul have been talking about sovereign alliance for years at this point, that these worders are exactly as you said. These world leaders are working together to eliminate the global world order's boot on everyone's neck. If you've read Prussiagate, that boot is very Prussian. It is the army that controls nations through finance and war. And they've had controlling interests pretty much across the world. When you hear things from legacy media about brutal dictators, you're probably talking about people that reject the transing of their kids.
Yeah.
Or don't think that we have to absolutely destroy our way of life for the climate.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was that Q drop was brought up early too, with the what if China, Russia, and others were helping POTUS bring down the NWO. And very, very early in Trump's presidency, he went to the Forbidden City. He was the first sitting president to ever go to the Forbidden City and have dinner with President Xi. And there's no security. So in other words, people weren't around them when they were having dinner. So it makes you wonder what they were talking about. And there've been a lot of good points brought up by those guys as well, as a few other folks who pointed out that you do realize, like, Xi, I understand his public face, right? And I think it would help a lot of folks to understand that the deep state over there, as ruthless as ours is, if they had a notion he was working against them, they would hang that dude in Tiananmen Square and just let his body swing. And so he's got to be pretty covert about what he's doing. But if you look kind of behind the facade at some of the actions he's taken, I mean, and I think it was in his first couple of years of being president, he had like more than 3/4 of the Chinese Communist Party kind of whooshed out and arrested and cleared up corruption throughout the entire country. And it's funny because there were a lot of Trump supporters in China, and you have to ask yourself, where did that come from? Why do so many people in China love Trump when he's constantly zinging them, but they still love him? Why would that be? And then you see the action, China, and then you see the way Russia worked with Trump, the way Putin worked with Trump. And it's absolutely no question in my mind that they're working together to get. You would have to have those alliances to get rid of this satanic, cannibalistic cabal we've been fighting for 1,000 years now. You couldn't. No one country could do this on your own. So if there ever was an instance in history where countries who have traditionally kind of been at odds, right? Russia, China, United States, if there's ever a time in history for them to come together and say, hey, if we don't stop this, then none of us are going to have a country in 25 years, it would be right now. And I firmly believe it. I firmly buy into the tri-sovereign stuff. We played a clip on Daily on Monday. Was it Katie Tur, somebody like that? But I mean, when she's talking about it, she literally referred to the Crown Prince as MBS. I'm like, wait a second. That's like straight up a non-talk for that dude. Like, normies don't know who the hell MBS is. What are they doing here?
They really should.
They really should. You can see the injection of the narrative, though, right? Like you pointed out at the start of this article, like the injection of the narrative of these tri-sovereign figures being put into everything all of a sudden, almost seemingly out of nowhere.
Yeah.
is a lot of signal to me.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I also think back to, so there was the Saudi purge, right, where the leadership and the kind of corruption, Ghost talks about this a lot, took place. There was also that moment with Xi where he escorted the former leader out, and that
Yep.
was, yeah, and that kind of had a similar feel, not as dramatic, but pretty dramatic still.
Yep.
And you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It makes sense that sovereign leaders, or leaders that want to make their countries great again, right, reclaim
Right.
their sovereignty from the globalists. It makes sense that they would need to work together, and Putin did it a long time ago. Putin defeated the globalists in his country a long time ago. So he's probably got some tips and tricks for the other nations. But I think it makes tons of sense that they would
Yeah.
be working together to defeat the army that controls nations, that doesn't have a standing army, that doesn't have a physical location that you can go and fight. It is a monetary system and a shadow control of every industry, every sector, every geography in the world, and every government across the world. And taking that back, it's like we were talking about this last night in terms of the length of time it took to make a dent in the Gambino family when the FBI was investigating Rico, and it took 40 to 50 years, and they're
Yep.
still operational, right? It didn't defeat them. It just was a massive blow, and it took 40 to 50 years to get to that massive blow. We have got to stop being so freaking impatient. President
Yeah.
Trump is in week 7.
Yeah. This is a worldwide criminal syndicate getting taken down. If you've ever watched those old school mobster movies, Casino, Goodfellas, Donnie Brasco. I brought Donnie Brasco up as a great point to you the other night too. I was like, that movie, while being a movie, is exceptionally accurate to the story of what Joe Pistone did. And he went undercover in the sting operation, the Rico investigation against the 5 families, and he got embedded with the Gambino family and all damn near became a made man with them. That's how far into it he got. But he was within them for a couple years, right? And he had to watch them murder people. He even had to take part in dismembering a body, and he couldn't say shit, or it would have blown the entire investigation and nothing would have come of it. And so when you think about what some of our guys are having to go through to get to some of the truth that we're getting, to bring down these organizations that would dismember a body to get rid of it, it takes some time and it takes some work if you want it done correctly. And not only did the Q drops preach law and order and by the book, his entire first term, Donald Trump preached law and order by the book. In his run up to this election, he preached law and order by the book. And since he took office, he's been talking about law and order by the book. That's the way it's going to be. And they're not going to risk blowing these investigations
100%.
just so we can all get our jollies a couple months or a couple years earlier. They're not going
And
to do
it's
that.
scratching an itch, wanting for the majority of people, and I'm not talking about his victims, but for the majority of people, podcasters, bloggers, people that spin outrage cycles on the internet, they want the names because they want to know. They want the names because they want to scratch an itch. They want to know who the bad guys are and what bad things that they did. I'm in a little bit of a different place. I want the people that rape kids to be executed.
Yep.
After due process, I want them to have all of everything by the book, as you said, rule of law by the book. But at the end of the day, if, proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, I think that they should be executed. I'm not for any plan that scratches the itch of people on the internet and at the expense of real justice.
It's going to be kind of a crude analogy, but would you rather jerk off or would you actually rather make love? Like, that's the difference. That's basically, there's a lot of people out there that, but it's like you said, they want the name so they can write their next headline, get their clicks or get their story. And I'd be willing to bet that most of them don't give a damn about actually seeing accountability or justice for this people. They just want the story for their own benefit. I'm totally fine waiting to see accountability and full on justice.
Yeah, me too. And the other thing that is, I'm going to climb up on this soapbox, but the Democrats play by no rules. They make it up. They don't abide by the rule of law. They use their power to change the law or get themselves off in the, in the event that they actually get in trouble for something. There are a lot of people out there in the social sphere calling for President Trump to do the same thing. Well, they set the precedent, so you can go and you can do this and you could do that and you could do this. And I don't want to legitimize the corrupted justice system. I don't think President Trump wants to either. I think we want to restore legitimate justice, and that is good. Justice takes time. So yeah. All right. From the Times of Israel, Smotrich heads to U.S. as Trump expected to make a statement on the annexation of the West Bank. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich said Tuesday he was hoping to make a brief visit to the United States to strengthen economic cooperation and deepen the strategic alliance between our two countries ahead of an expected announcement by the U.S. President Donald Trump on the future of the West Bank. Writing on X, Smotrich said he had taken off overnight and would meet with U.S. officials, including Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. I will also emphasize Israel's determined stance in the fight against terror and the need for the clear American support, said the far-right minister who has threatened to topple the government should Israel withdraw from Gaza as part of a truce hostage deal. And Ghost has been talking about this story and this guy a lot. Let's see what happens. Let's see if American officials meet with him. My question is, we've had Steve Witkoff and a whole delegation over in Israel pretty much since Inauguration Day. So why does this guy have to come here?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Maybe Scott Bessent didn't want to go to Israel and he's like, nah, you can come here. I got stuff to do.
I like that.
It's possible.
Right.
All right. With that, let's give one more shout out to our sponsors, and then we are going to head into the non-SODU discussion. So we've got fieldofgreens.com. Use promo code Badlands. Get yourself some strawberry lemonade. I got to finish this before it gets too warm. Strawberry lemonade, Field of Greens. Get yourself the lean tablets. I saw some folks asking me to report my progress as we go each week, and I definitely will. We'll do that probably on this show because they usually sponsor this show, so I can talk about it in that context. And tackrightbadlands.com. Get your trauma kits. Make sure that you get enough for your family because who knows, man? It's getting weird. It's getting weird out there, and our border was open for 4 years. The former administration moved planes full of military-age males into, I think, strategic locations all around our country. And the president of Ukraine just threatened us that we're going to feel it soon. So, get your trauma kit just in case. Probably a good idea. Tracklightbadlands.com and fieldofgreens.com.
Yeah, and if you're a fan of the 2A, such as myself, that TAC-Right trauma kit would be a fantastic thing to keep in your range bag as well.
Yeah. So Gunther Eagleman on X, I think he was one of the Binder Bros, if I'm not mistaken.
Was
he? Maybe not. I don't know. I thought he was. I might be wrong. He said this was the best line of the night. I think he might be right.
There's nothing on screen.
Oh, there's nothing on the screen? Damn it.
Friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
JD's face.
The media and our friends
I also
in the
discovered
Democrat
last
Party
night.
kept saying we needed new
okay,
legislation. We must
wait,
have
wait,
legislation.
that's the perfect spot. Okay. Mike Johnson looks like Marty McFly before he got cool. Right?
One of my favorite things from the speech last night was the constant smirks, though, that Johnson was given back back behind Trump every time he dropped a nuke on their head. He almost I almost felt like he wanted to burst into hysterical laughter a couple times, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was and they did. They did. I was doing hash marks when I saw standing ovations last night, and I counted 95, which is a lot. So that's more for even, a regular State of the Union speech, which is usually in like the 60s and 70s. So that was great. All right. Then we had this giant douchebag. Am I sharing? Okay.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat.
No, I don't want it.
No.
Members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum. The chair now directs the sergeant at arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the
Such a
chamber.
stunt. I wish he would have fought back.
Right? I was kind of halfway expecting him to start swinging that cane.
I also wish that they had thrown out other people. Super serious. We're very serious people
We are
doing very
serious
serious
people.
things for $174,000 a
Take
year.
your seat.
All right, so he
Take-
came out and had a statement after the fact. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, hang on, I closed the wrong video. Share this tab.
So what were you shouting to the president?
The president said he had a mandate. And I was making it clear to the president that he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. I have people who are very fearful. These are poor people, and they have only Medicaid in their lives when it comes to their health care. And I want him to know that his budget calls for deep cuts in Medicaid. He needs to save Medicaid, protect it. We need to raise the cap on Social Security. There's a possibility that it's going to be hurt, and we got to protect Medicare. These are the safety net programs that people in my congressional district depend on. And this president seems to care less about them and more about the number of people that he can remove from the various programs that
All right, folks are saying they can't hear it, so I'll just tell you what he says. He says that he was yelling because President Trump says that he has a mandate, and Al Green wants to make sure that he knows that he does not have a mandate to cut Medicare, because how dare you think about cutting Medicare? Now, this is a message that they got the talking point. They're all running with it. President Trump is going to cut Medicare. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And Social Security, too. Everybody freak all the way out. The problem that they're going to have is that Medicare and Medicaid are the biggest part of our budget. It's those and the other entitlements, but it's the biggest part of our budget. It is naive at best and criminally negligent at worst to think that there is no waste, fraud, and abuse. That there are no waste, fraud, and abuse in Social Security and Medicare. But we're going to hear, over and over again, President Trump's cutting Medicaid. Oh my God, it's so terrible. Grandma's not going to be able to get her meds. And that's not what's happening at all.
No, sorry, I was making sure I didn't have a cat under my chair before I scooted forward. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. You can see that's the talking point that's going out. And as a side note, how come Al Green looks like every typecast Muslim terrorist from every terrorist movie ever? I mean, I know that he's not, but he just looks that way.
He's a Muslim terrorist.
No, he's not. He kind of acts like a. Anyway, yeah, no, that's not. They like to take what's actually happening and, of course, twist it about and lie about it. That's not at all what's happening with Medicaid. It's kind of like when the fearmongers came out about the deportations. They're like, "Oh my God, they're going to absolutely deport everybody. What about the guy that is just here trying to work earnestly and is trying to do it the right way?" And I'm over here like, yeah, none of those folks have been deported. It's pretty much been criminals and gang members so far. Folks raping others, murdering others, these sorts.
Well, they ignore that. They
Right.
couldn't clap for Lake and Riley's mother and sisters. They couldn't
even
clap
stand.
They wouldn't even stand. They wouldn't clap. They're despicable, disgusting human beings. If they're even human, I'm probably leaning
I
towards lizards.
I think the speech was like was wrapped for less than 5 minutes before Maddow and the rest of the cows at MSNBC were politicizing the young kid. You know, the one
Oh,
with.
don't jump ahead.
Okay, you got that one. Okay,
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's
that's our last story.
these people are. There's
Yeah.
look, when Cuban President Trump constantly said these people are sick, that's the stuff they're talking about. I don't care what political differences you have. I don't care if you hate President Trump or what he's doing. You can stand for Lake and Riley's family. You can stand for Corey Comparatori's family. You can show basic respect for those people, even if you don't align with your president. It was just an absolutely disgusting display. And in some ways, I'm over the moon that they did it. They came out of last night looking arguably worse than they have at any point during all this. They looked terrible last night.
I know, it's the best. It's the best because all of their old tricks, everything that they try is backfiring because people see through it now. People know that they aren't actually just really concerned about the poor people in their communities. They're actually committed to keeping them poor because their dependence is a great benefit to them.
Yep.
And that's they are despicable people. I think probably, and definitely not challenging you on Q stuff, but I would think that these people are sick. Yes, includes the moral code and compass, but also includes the horrifying shit that they did, which means that they should face due process and the appropriate outcome.
Yeah. I mean, they're sick in all regards. It's the morals, it's their actions, it's their hatred for America, their hatred for the sanctity of your life. I mean, they really are. That my dad used to say years ago, and I used to mess with him like, man, I don't know, maybe you're going a little far, but he used to be like, these people have reprobate souls, like they're gone, they're done.
Yeah.
And now that I've gotten a little bit older, I'm like, yeah, he nailed it.
Yeah, in the Bible it talks about people that have scales over their eyes. You know, they can't see the kind of human empathy and compassion in the way that the, regular humans see it.
Right.
All right. So another great announcement we got last night was about Abby Gate from FBI Director Kash Patel on X. Breaking, as President Trump just announced, I can report that tonight the FBI, DOJ, and CIA have extradited one of the terrorists responsible for the murder of 13 American soldiers at Abbey Gate during the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal, one step closer to justice for these American heroes and their families. So, did the Biden administration even try? Did they even try to find the people that killed those 13 Americans?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not right. Scumbags. Just so
I do know that Joe kept checking his watch when those 13 Americans' bodies were brought home, though. He did that. That's a thing he did.
That is a fact. And this is who we're talking about. It is amazing to me that we're in week 7. It's like his entire agenda is, set and in progress in week 7. And I wrote about this in the brief this morning. I know that I rewatched the show Scandal because I kept calling you and like, holy shit, this is brandishing the method. And it is. The whole show is, I think, a revelation of the Obama administration. The show was directed by Shonda Rhimes. The showrunner was Shonda Rhimes, who was an big Obama donor and surrogate. She did How to Get Away with Murder and I think Grey's Anatomy and a whole bunch of very successful shows, but they steal elections and they have secret covert government operations and they have all this kind of stuff. It's like season 3, I think. The president he needs to get something done in his first 100 days. He needs a landmark piece of legislation in his first 100 days, and he's got to fight tooth and nail to get people on board to do one thing in his first 100 days. President Trump has secured over $2 trillion of investment, private investment into the United States. He did that within the first 7 weeks. He has signed a massive piece of legislation about immigration, the Lake and Riley Act. He signed it on day 9. Day 9. Took him 9 days, not 100, But the 100-day paradigm is something that we've been told forever. The president's first 100 days are super important. They set the set the tone for his entire administration. These guys can't even get out of their own way in 100 days. And President Trump has enabled pretty much his entire agenda. It's not all done, but it seems to all be in progress.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. So I was making sure I wasn't muted. Yeah, he's really hit the ground running. And that's again with like there's so much still to come. And I think we're gonna see stuff to come as well. Like I still think we're gonna get the veil pulled down on the 2020 election and ones after that. And kind of I saw something I haven't really looked either, but I saw in passing a headline that Maxine Waters is suggesting now that Elon Musk used sophisticated technology to steal the election. And so I'm over here like, could you guys maybe kick that up a little bit louder and start screaming for an audit of the 2024 election? Can we do that? Can we have that happen? Because then we could do 2020 as well. And so these are things that I think are still to come. But look at everything he's already gotten done. Look at everything Doge has already uncovered. This is why they're so pissed off because we called it, which is funny enough. We're replaying that episode Sunday, our post-election episode of Culture of Change. And we called it. We said, he's going to hit the ground running and he's going to, a lot of this stuff was probably already worked on in the background before he came into office. Like it was all ready to go. And so you've seen him do that. And you've seen a lot of actions from him that are so different from his first administration. It's like he really got in there and he knows what's going on this time. He had the mandate and we said it on Culture of Change. Like, look, with a Republican president and speaker and House and Senate, it's going to be awfully hard for them to stonewall him. And we're seeing some of that too. The Supreme Court was a major thorn in his side this morning, and we'll see what comes of that. But it's the poop water. And they also said it was we had been on air when this one came out, but they said that the $2.2 billion in foreign aid that they held up on the other day, they said that has he can't say that we can't pay that to prior contracts. So it was
to prior contracts that were appropriated by Congress.
Right.
That's probably the right call, to be honest.
Yeah.
You should still be able to pursue fraud.
Right.
So they better use that money. That's what I would do. I'd say, all right, fine. We're going to send some we're going to send some monitors, some Doge monitors to make sure that this money is being spent in the way that it's appropriated to be spent, because it's most definitely not.
Exactly. And that's how it kind of came off to me, because there's already a show aspect to it, getting put together. So you had Alito and Thomas and Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. They all dissented with really strong opinions. And but it's what you said. So I wouldn't put it past the realm of possibility for this being released to be another honeypot to see what they do with it and see where it goes and see if they do the proper things with it. Who knows? So,
and this is a constitutional authority thing, right? So that's what the Supreme Court is looking at, is the constitutionality of what President Trump is doing versus the authorities of Congress. They probably have it right that the president, that we have separate and co-equal branches. We don't have a king. We don't have a dictator. We have a executive branch that is a separate co-equal branch. So it's probably the right call, but there's no universe in which Congress appropriates known fraud and the executive branch has to commit the crime. So I think it's just they're going to have to go around. They're going to have to go about it a different way, but we'll see what happens. Very interesting. I look forward to seeing what President Trump says. Speaking of what President Trump says,
we're also identifying shocking levels of incompetence and probable fraud in the Social Security program for our seniors, and that our seniors and people that we love rely on. Believe it or not, government databases list 4.7 million Social Security members from people aged 100 to 109 years old. It lists 3.6 million people from ages 110 to 119. I don't know any of them. I know some people that are rather elderly, but not quite that elderly. 3.47 million people from ages 120 to 129. 3.9 million people from ages 130 to 139. 3.5 million people.
He's just looking straight at
from
him now.
ages 140 to 149. And money is being paid to many of them. And we're searching right now. In fact, Pam, good luck. Good luck. You're going to find it. But a lot of money is paid out to people because it just keeps getting paid and nobody does. And it really hurts Social Security and hurts our country. 1.3 million people from ages 150 to 159 and over 130,000 people, according to the Social Security databases, are age over 160 years old. We have a healthier country than I thought, Bobby.
Oh, Rashida didn't get a pre-made sign. She had to make her own.
Aw. Poor Rashida.
That was hilarious. We have a healthier country than I thought. He goes on to talk about how there are people that there's like one person that's 360 years old. And someone in the chat asked, how can they say that it's fake? So what he's saying is our Social Security rolls include all these people. And that's what Elon and his team found when they went in and audited the Social Security rolls. Who's on the rolls? That doesn't mean they're all getting payments. Some of them are getting payments. Now, what you will hear if you go out into the social sphere today is that this has been debunked so many times and President Trump is just lying intentionally now. Well, what they're doing is they're asserting the position, like projecting onto President Trump the position that he's saying all these, 100, 200, 300-year-old people are getting paid. He never said that. He said some of them are getting paid, but why are they on there? And that's a very important question. They're on there for fraud. It's very similar to voter rolls because you when you have an inflated, data set of people and you want to be able to kind of manipulate and move around within a system like elections or disbursement of Social Security funds that nobody ever audits and nobody ever checks, similar to voter rolls, nobody ever audits. You're damn near impossible to get a change made. And the problem is you go through and you do all the work, legwork, knock on doors, get the data, bring it to the clerk and say, listen, we have, a big problem. We've got like 8% of the people on this list don't actually exist at these addresses. They can go in and clean it up and that can be recorrupted like that. Those people can be added back like that.
Yep.
It is. They're inflated. They're inflated for fraud. Why would you have a 360-year-old person on the Social Security rolls?
Exactly.
What's the purpose?
Do you reckon if we didn't have 30 million people on Social Security that shouldn't be getting benefits, that maybe those who actually are on Social Security and alive could be drawing enough from Social Security to, live on? And
that's what Democrats are fighting. Democrats are not fighting some grandma being taken off of her Social Security. That's illegal. It's illegal to take lawful recipients of Social Security off of Social Security. It's not illegal to take out the waste, fraud, and abuse. It's not illegal to remove dead people. Having dead people on there enables fraud.
Yep, 100%.
All right. R.D. Hayward says it's not beyond comprehension that the voter rolls are confirmed or cross-checked with the SSI rolls. I'm pretty sure they are, actually. I think you're correct about that. And the voter rolls it's the same problem. You have I don't know the ecosystem with Social Security as well, so I don't know if this is the same kind of thing, but in the voter rolls you have a whole bunch of different people with access, a bunch of different entities with access to write. You have a bunch of different automatic kind of uploads and check things that happen, like they do a cross check with the DMV data. That was how we led to 30,000 illegals getting a postcard from Jenna Griswold encouraging them to register to vote. Is because there was a data coding mismatch. And that's the official answer the Deputy Secretary of State gave me under oath in federal court. A data coding mismatch between their data and the data they were getting from ERIC. What is ERIC? ERIC is the Electronic Registration Information Center, which effectively exists, in my opinion, to inflate voter rolls. And like Kansas used to be Kansas Cross-Check and became Eric, and they get SEPs money. They get a bunch of taxpayer stuff. We got to stop all this.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so I have to apologize in advance for the next video because it's going to make people upset to have to look at this guy. Although we could just like pantomime his words and pretend we know what he's saying. Billionaires and billionaires. No, excuse me, just billionaires, because I'm now a millionaire.
Nobody who was 150 years old or 200 years old or 300 years old is receiving Social Security checks. Nobody.
He has no ability to make that
who was
assertion.
150 years old or 200 years old or 300 years old is receiving Social Security checks. Nobody who was 150 years old or 200 years old.
So essentially what he's saying is nobody
Prove
his
it.
age is receiving Social Security.
Checks. Nobody.
All right, that's enough. My question is, okay, prove it.
Right.
Where's your independent audit report, Bernie, that shows that there's no waste, fraud, and abuse in Social Security? Oh, you don't have one because we don't audit it? Well, then maybe we should, because we audit every other entity. And Bernie Sanders is the first to go out to private corporations and demand that they bend the knee to the fucking government and give and do public audits and have a real accountability for the millionaires and billionaires and these evil corporations. But Social Security can be a slush fund and nobody's allowed to audit it. And Bernie's going to go out there. Nobody is doing this. And we know that because we haven't looked.
Where's your sauce, Bernie?
Yeah. Bring the receipts.
Right. Did you document
Your
it?
sources are STFU, Bernie.
His sources are eat a bag of dicks, Bernie.
Facts. All right. We are coming. Oh no, I lost. Oh no, I didn't. I got it. Okay. All right. Another announcement that President Trump made. This is another one. This woman made me cry. And this is another one that the Democrats are just absolutely heartless on. But listening to this part and this widow's face was crushing.
Stephanie, we're going to make sure that Ryan knows his dad was a true hero, New York's finest. And we're going to get these cold-blooded killers and repeat offenders off our streets, and we're going to do it fast. Got to stop it. They get out with 28 arrests. They push people into subway trains. They hit people over the head, back of the head with baseball bats. We got to get them out of here. I've already signed an executive order requiring a mandatory death penalty for anyone who murders a police officer. And tonight I'm asking Congress to pass that policy into permanent law. Stephanie,
what do you think about that?
I think it's pretty awesome. That was one part that got me last night too. And it's just another thing they're going to attack him for because, he actually cares about people in this country.
Yeah.
And of course they didn't stand for her either, by the way.
No, they didn't stand, clap, smile. And he recapped. We came in after he talked about what happened to her husband, but he recapped it and, her loss. And these people are disgusting. They're just absolutely disgusting. When Melania announced the guest in the gallery yesterday, she said, we're bringing up regular Americans who have experiences that, are coming through President Trump's speech tonight. So you had a lifelong steel worker there while he talked about the tariffs on steel. You had, Stephanie Diller, I think her last name is, while he was talking about mandatory death penalty for people who murder police officers. I don't like mandatory sentences unless we're talking about people that rape children. I think they should be mandatory death penalty. Okay, fine. I'm on board. I think it can slippery slope really quickly. if you
Yeah.
mandate the death penalty for certain things. But yeah,
Maybe messing with kids should be one of them. I don't know.
certainly should be. All right. We've got 3 more topics here, and then we're going to get out of here and head to Las Vegas. First up is this was a fun announcement.
To further enhance our national security, my administration will be reclaiming the Panama Canal, and we've already started doing it. Just today, a large American company announced they are buying both ports around the Panama Canal and lots of other things having to do with the Panama Canal and a couple of other
Marco, no.
canals. The Panama Canal was built by Americans for Americans, not for others, but others could use it. But it was built at tremendous cost of American blood and treasure. 38,000 workers died building the Panama Canal. They died of malaria. They died of snake bites and mosquitoes. Not a nice place to work. They paid them very highly to go there, knowing there was a 25% chance that they would die. The most expensive project also that was ever built in our country's history, if you bring it up to modern day costs. It was given away by the Carter administration for $1, but that agreement has been violated very severely. We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
All right. So the American company, I've literally never thought of BlackRock as an American company.
Right.
So the American company that bought the rights for the Panama Canal is BlackRock. BlackRock strikes $23 billion deal to place Panama Canal ports under American control. Hong Kong-based conglomerate that operates ports near the Panama Canal has agreed to sell shares of its units that operate the ports to a consortium, including BlackRock Inc., after President Trump alleged Chinese interference with the operations of the critical shipping lane. In a press release, CK Hutchinson Holdings said Tuesday, so Shell Company, how very BlackRock, said they would sell shares in Hutchinson Port Holdings and all shares at a deal valued at $22.8 billion. The 2 units hold 80% of the Hutchinson Ports Group that operates 43 ports in 23 countries, including 2 of the 4 ports that exist along the Panama Canal. The deal will give BlackRock, the BlackRock Consortium, over 43 ports in 23 countries, including Mexico, the Netherlands, Egypt, Australia, Pakistan, and elsewhere. So we're not just talking about Panama Canal port rights. We're talking about port rights all over the world. And if you remember when President Trump was talking about this, reporters asked him, "Are you going to buy the Panama Canal?" And he was like, "No, we're not going to buy it. It's not, first of all, it should be ours anyway, because we're the ones that built it. But no, we're not going to buy it." And again, true to his word, he brought in BlackRock to buy him. I went down a rabbit hole on this last night with Larry Fink. If folks want to see it, you can check it out in my brief take on this story today at badlands.substack.com. But basically, looking at Larry Fink's journey with President Trump, Larry Fink was the muscle of ESG. He was the person with the ability, and you and I have talked about this a bunch on Culture of Change, but he was the guy that can go in and make them put gender programs in, make them do climate stuff. We're going to get to net zero, and we're going to get there whether or not the businesses want to or not. His predominant audience is CEOs that he can tell what to do. Right. So he has, since 2017, sort of slowly been backing away. It's, read the tea leaves, see the room, see where things are going, slowly backing off of gender stuff, climate stuff, the woke policies that are, kryptonite in this organization. You're not getting any FaceTime with the president if you're pushing that stuff. And in 2024, he did a complete 180. about face, and now BlackRock is not pushing ESG, apparently, allegedly, according to the reporting. I don't know. I don't trust Larry Fink at all.
Not even a little bit.
Not even.
You mean
a
the
little
same
bit.
guy who said we have to force behavior changes? Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
not going to trust that guy.
Well, and that's how, but that's the forced behavior changes for ESG, forced behavior changes for net zero climate reduction, forced behavior changes to, implement the Sustainable Development Goal number 5, gender equity, into every industry and every sector and every geography in the world. That's been who he is and what his position is. I don't trust him at all, and he is absolutely about changing behavior. And he has the ability to do it because BlackRock is or BlackRock/Vanguard is the largest institutional investor in most of the publicly traded companies in the world. Vanguard is the other one, but BlackRock is the largest institutional investor in Vanguard, and Vanguard is the largest institutional investor in BlackRock. So it's all kinds of messed up. All right. So next story we've got.
We also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security. And we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security. And I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it. We also have a message tonight for the incredible.
There's so much going on up in that part of the world, whether we're talking about Greenland or Canada. I do like that he started that statement with, you can determine your own fate. We're not coming to invade you. We're not coming to take over your country, but you said you wanted to leave the Danes, and you said you don't want to be a state, but you do want to have some sort of security guarantees and whatnot. So let's talk. And it's interesting. Very
interesting. When he first started with the Greenland stuff some months back, I thought it was a troll. I don't think it's a troll anymore at all.
Well, I think there's an alliance there. I don't think he's going to make him a state.
No.
We were talking about this last night. It's like, wait a second. I thought Canada was the 51st state. Yeah, I think they shit the bed on that. I don't think it's like, yeah, we don't want you anymore. And we're not going to subsidize your country. Sorry.
Yeah, you guys messed up.
Toodles.
You had your chance. Toodles, sweetie. Bye, cupcake.
All right. And our final story that we have. Give me 1 second to get all these. I have 3 different things we're going to play. So, all right. This one first.
And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
That hug crushed me last night. Lost all my makeup.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't wearing makeup, but the hug still crushed me no less.
Tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the big.
That was really beautiful. So it took about 2.5 seconds for leftists to shit on it.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives a the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people. But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself.
What a fucking ghoul.
She is an absolute demon. An absolute demon. At least they're now, the silver lining, Paul, is that they're now admitting that those officers died of suicide and weren't 5 officers killed at the Capitol that day, because the only people that died at the Capitol that day died at the hands of the Capitol Police, who instigated the crowd, who accidentally gassed themselves, which breached the line, who had agents undercover, likely instigating. There were Ukrainians undercover instigating on January 6th. And this bitch, this absolute demon, I don't know how anybody keeps her on the air.
I'm gonna steal one of your phrases from you from Culture of Change. We don't hate these people enough.
Yeah. I don't think that's my. I mean, I do apply that to globalists quite a bit, and she's a globalist. This woman is awful. She's the one that said that she thought Joe Biden should punch Trump in the face and then get out of the race, and it would be great. She's so Trump deranged that she turns a cancer survivor getting an honorary commission to the Secret Service into a political statement that is full of disinformation.
Yep.
And look at her eyes. Look at her demon eyes.
All these people have such blank eyes. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
There's like no life behind their eyes at all.
All right. So we're going to end the show today with a little palate cleanse after Nicole Wallace, demon Nicole Wallace. Wait. I'm going to go here. There we go. All right. Am I on? Okay, it's on.
But you wanna know the craziest part? Because my mom bathes me and my brothers all together, and out of nowhere I locked up, and then my dad was calling my name, and I started going to the slow thing, and he said stop playing with me, and then I started to act, I ain't gonna lie, I started to act slow, and then as soon as he said that, we was speeding all the way, running lights, going to the hospital, and then next thing you know I was seizing on the table. They said nah, we gonna have to go in his brain tonight. Ever since then, I had 13 brain surgeries, and that's how many times my personality has changed. And that's something that you don't hear from a terminally ill child. They had 5 months to live. I'm gonna keep on going into my gas tanks right now. And that's when God calls you home. You never know when God's gonna call you home. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad. I know he's pretty proud of me, and I'm pretty proud of him too. And I'd like to thank President Trump, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, and Nicole Wallace decided to turn him into a political stunt to tell the people, tell her dwindling audience of 5 people, 5 wine moms that are like, yeah, you go, Nicole, to reveal what an absolute cunt she is. And I'm not sorry for saying it. I know it's morning. I know it's a morning show, but it's very appropriate at this moment.
Yeah, I would endorse the usage of that word, given the context and what you were talking about. I absolutely agree. What a horrid person.
Yeah, she's a demon. I think, you know what I think we should do? I think we should send her to Canada space. Oh, shoot, it didn't start at the beginning there. I'd just like to say I have more respect for the Canadian Space Agency than I have for Nicole Wallace.
And they don't even have rockets.
Which is like negative on both.
Right.
All right. We have a few Rumble rants and we'll read them and then we'll get out of here. We were going to do a short show. We didn't actually do a short show.
No, we didn't.
We did not. Okay. Ed Benson, Ash Wednesday is the one day of the year that half of the population of New Orleans wakes up, dips their finger in the ashtray, cross on the forehead, and off to work. Wait, you can do it yourself?
Yeah.
I thought you had to go to church to do it and have a priest
I
do
don't
it.
think so. I don't
Oh.
know.
Where do you get the ashes?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Now I'm
Huh.
interested. I'm intrigued now.
Yeah, I had no idea you could do it yourself. I thought all you people were going to church. Fakers. Church fakers. Too big for bike. After 5-month job search, I just accepted a position at a company that was created for me after interviewing for a different position. Thanks to the Badlands family in chat for their prayers. Congratulations, Too Big for Bike. Super excited for you. That's awesome.
Woohoo! Congrats, man.
Yeah, finding the right fit is so important. Denise Ann, too. I hope they do this. Identifying them will be so much easier. And there's a link. Let's see what this is. See if Denise Ann, too, is trying to get us canceled. Oh, oh, this is good. Okay. Hang on. We do have to share. It's only a few seconds. Oh.
That you can start immediately. Put a mask back on.
No.
Letting them observe your face and have the side benefit of better health and protecting the rest of us in the world.
Well, that was never true.
Put a mask back on.
Effective form of protest you have right now. I really wish you would because you're an ugly bitch, but none of those things you said are true. Like, it's not going to make the world healthier. It's certainly not going to make you healthy to breathe your own germs.
No.
And but it will make us happy because we don't have to look at your ugly face.
Yes.
Thank you, Denise Ann, too. Beachside, the important question regarding the crypto summit, I believe, will the information come out after market close Friday night? LOL rug pull potential. Excellent question.
Right.
All of these things have such strong ability to rug or to send it to the moon across a whole bunch of different projects.
Right.
Liberty Lion breaking. Texas Dem just lost a seat out of Texas. Sylvester Turner died. Texas 18th Congressional District. Source, Neil Johnson, Lumberjack Logic. Neil Johnson's cool. I met him at the Cyber Symposium. Okay. So there will probably be a special election because it's House, and House has to be elected, not appointed, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's a senator. Actually, I don't know. 18th Congressional District. So, yeah. Oh, a congressman. So we could actually flip a seat.
Yeah, like, sorry for his family's loss.
And by we, I mean normal people, not Republicans, because I'm not one.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the dude, but see what happens. Not to be that guy, but an extra seat in the House right now would be pretty cool.
Okay, new case. I'm sorry I will miss the in-person GART in Vegas. I'd have loved to go. Thanks for all you do. Please keep us in your prayers. We certainly will, Nuke, and we will miss you as well. I'm trying to get one here in Colorado. I want to do it at the Denver Airport Hotel because I think we would have a blast. And the Denver Airport Hotel is a Westin. It's very nice.
I like Westins.
Okay, the ashes come from burnt palms. Thank you, Saint Masshole. Denise Antu says, you absolutely cannot do it yourself. It has to be done by a priest from the burn palms from the previous Palm Sunday. Okay. It sounds like a very strict reading. And like any religion, there are people that take it all the way seriously. And there are people that, really don't know much about it, but claim it. So, and then there's, all sorts in the middle. So. But it's good to know. I didn't know any of that, so I appreciate it. I appreciate the education. Call sign Cujo, Ash and Ab, safe travels, many DQs en route, no worry. God bless. I was talking about how in Texas, because we had Zach on briefly on the live stream last night, and Zach's driving through Texas. And I'm like, do you see Dairy Queen? Because in my experience, when you drive through Texas, every town has a Dairy Queen. Even if the town doesn't have a gas station or a school or a grocery store, there is a Dairy Queen. And he's like, no, I haven't seen a Dairy Queen. And then he gets off the live stream, and a few seconds later, he messages me a picture. He's like, I saw a Dairy Queen. Thanks, Cujo. And then Denise hand too. I didn't mean to yell in that last rant. Sorry, I didn't take it as yelling. Yeah, you guys are teaching me. I just learned all this stuff. No. All right, everybody, please remember to check out our sponsors, fieldofgreens.com, promo code Badlands, tackrightbadlands.com, and get your GART virtual tickets. GART virtual tickets are at badlandsmedia.tv/events. We're going to have a blast. It's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure that you're plugged in and a part of the action. And final reminder is there is no Daily Herald today because John's flight was canceled and he had to take an earlier one. So no Daily Herald today. I doubt there will be one for the rest of the week. I could be wrong about that, but I doubt it unless he recorded them. But it's a news show, so I don't think he did. But we'll see what happens. Everybody having a fantastic week. I don't think we're back. We're back on Sunday, but we were playing an older version of an older episode of Culture of Change. We're going to play the one after the election, see kind of where we were at that moment versus now. It'll be fun. And be in the chat for sure on that. But anything else you want to shout out?
No, other than, make sure you go over to badlandsmedia.tv/events and get your virtual or in-person tickets if you're in the area or intending on going. And programming note for Eye of the Storm. Eye of the Storm will be pre-recorded on Friday and Sunday. But aside from that, no, I got nothing.
All right, guys. Well, we are going to get out of here. We will see you when we see you. Have a great week, and God bless.
Thank you so much for joining us, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up on this video. And a special thank you to all of our advertising partners. Please remember to shift your dollars to support those businesses that support Badlands Media.